Good morning. It's Saturday. I'm in the office. You know what that means. The Saturday Morning Hustle podcast. Outworking the competition while they still sleep. Last week, we talked about just getting started. To put your foot forward, take that first step, take the leap, make the commitment to do the thing that you want to do. Start your startup. Take your side hustle to your main hustle. Do something with your career. Whatever it is, project, etc., that you wanted to start. Now we're going to step way back, take the big picture of what ultimate success is, and the fact that that ultimate success probably doesn't end up where you're imagining it right now. The picture in your head of success isn't necessarily where you end up. That's okay. In fact, we're going to embrace that idea, talk about the process itself, and how getting from where you are today to that ultimate level of success that you have pictured in your mind, when it is different, when it changes, when other things happen, how to embrace that and move that into what is your real ultimate level of success. So, much like last time, we start with the most basic idea. Just get started. Take that first step. But as you take that first step, because you are human, you're already picturing how you hope it works out, what success looks like. And that is a good thing. To define for yourself, write it down, at least have an idea of what you would consider success. There are levels. There is immediate success. You have to have, if you're launching a podcast, you have to have listener 1 and listener 2 and listener 3 before you can get to listener 1,000, before you can get to 100,000, before you can get to 1 million. It starts at the burst level, getting started, having immediate success, measurable success, and then things you can build upon is the process of getting started. You have to have small victories before you have medium, before you have big, before you have the ultimate victory. So get started, take that first step, begin the process. At that time, you will be doing two things that simultaneously seem like they're the opposite, but they are the same, is measuring results and not focusing on results. I know that sounds like an oxymoron, so I will explain. Those small levels of success, 1 listener, 2 listener, 3 listener, 1 client, $1, $10, $100, you have to build upon them, and you do have to measure them to make sure you're moving in the right direction, that you are being successful in those small successes that lead to bigger successes. That is where you focus on the result, but you have building to do. The term is often used is low-hanging fruit. The easy stuff to get first is the easiest to come to you. It is the low-hanging fruit. It is what is going to happen first. It's what's going to put you in the right place to get to second, get to third, get to fourth, etc. You need to make sure early that you're measuring these ideas and that you're moving in the right direction. This is the key, moving in the right direction, getting those early wins that you can build upon. If you don't have the early wins, you can't have the late wins. You can't have small success, you can't have big success. So you have to focus on those things, measure them, and make sure that you're moving in the right direction. Make sure you're understanding what it is you're doing, who you're connecting with as an audience, the process itself, how you can improve. You're starting at 0, you're starting at 1, you're starting at 2. There is improvements to be made, no matter how well you've planned, no matter how well you've prepped. No matter what you've done to this point, you have to build upon that success to have the next level of success. You have to understand what is being successful and what isn't. Do more of what works, less of what doesn't. If it ultimately isn't working, you have to make changes from adjustments, adaptation, through pivot to achieve the ultimate goal. You can only do that if you're measuring the small levels of success. At the same time, your focus can't be on the outcomes. At that point, you're chasing dollars, you're chasing listeners, you're chasing milestones, you're chasing the number instead of building something sustainable. Think about long-term success in building a sustainable system, building a business, building a process, building something that can do what you want to do with it. That's the big picture. That's less focus on the numbers and the specifics and more on a level of success. At the same time, understanding you have to build to that success, and that build includes focusing on the numbers. What effort is repaying itself in profit? What things that you do that are beneficial, things that you do that are less or not beneficial, how can you change them? Do less of that, more of the things that work. So you need to focus at the same time on the short-term accountability and measurability. At the long term, don't focus on the results in the big picture. Now, if you're building a brand, if you're building a career, if you're launching a business, the big picture is 10, 20, 30, 50 years. If it's a project, it could be 6 months, it could be 6 weeks. If you're trying to do something extra, the timetable could be different again. But ultimately, there is the big picture, the ultimate level, the success that you're moving towards, and then you subtract down half of that and half of that and half of that to the immediate what needs to be done this day, this hour, these actions that need to happen so they can be built upon for the next level of action. Now, as that happens, as you're measuring results and moving towards the big picture, the key here is to be flexible and adapt. Flexibility and adaptation. And this goes back to the basic premise that where you end up ultimately is probably not what you picture, which is fine. You've set a goal to move towards. As long as that goal is high, it's big, and it moves you in a place that is better in the end than where you started, that's all that matters. Moving from a good place to a great place, from great to amazing, from nothing to a lot. Uncertainty to great certainty. These are the things you're moving towards. These are bigger goals. The bigger that goal gets, the more abstract it becomes. It becomes less about numbers and more about levels of success. You must be flexible in how you reach those levels of success. Rigid idealism, too. It's not how I pictured it in my head, so it's not how I'm going to do it, will blind you to opportunities. So you have to be flexible. You have to be open to the process. You have to understand that flexibility is needed, and adaptation is the vehicle for taking advantage of the opportunities that do come to you. Adaptation is how you implement your flexibility. Flexibility is an attitude. Adaptation is action. Take opportunity as it comes, not succinctly as you envision it. It should be similar. It should be in the same vein. It should be moving you in the direction that you're trying to achieve. But often, opportunity, which leads to success, how you capitalize on opportunities, how you become successful, those opportunities are often not what you expected. Sometimes because things work better than you planned, sometimes because things did not work as you planned and you made changes, and sometimes opportunity presents itself in a way that you could not have imagined when you started. Not because you have a lack of imagination or you're not creative, because you just didn't have a path to how that opportunity would show up in front of you, but it does. Opportunities do come in front of you if you're building, if you're moving in a direction, if you're growing, if you're being successful, opportunities come your way. If you're capable of making the adaptation, you're flexible enough to adapt to the opportunities as they come, take them as they come, not as if you vision them rigidly, then you create the opportunities for success. Success at levels. Success today builds for success tomorrow. That success builds onto the next level of success, and ultimately the success that is built underneath you is what creates sustainability. Sustainable success is the ultimate success. Doesn't matter what it looks like, and it doesn't matter, that's not the vision you set out for, if you can build something that is sustainable and successful at a higher level than when you started. And then this process continues to happen over and over again. The keys here are growth and direction. Growth is expanding, is adding to. You have more assets, whether it's money you made, it's opportunities you've created, it's relationships you've built, it's tools that you've built, systems, mechanisms. It could be literally the physical items around you that you've amassed in order to do what you want to do. It could be the intelligence that you've gained, the experience that you have gained, the capitalization of opportunities that have risen you to the next level. All of these things are growth. If you're growing, you're being successful, even if that success is hard to define or not what you intended for it to be. If you're growing, you're successful. If you're not growing, at the very least, you're stagnant. At the very worst, you're moving in the wrong direction. Continual growth is the key. All of this small successes, all of this building upon, all of this processes are for you to continually grow. Grow your mind, grow your experience, grow your connections, grow your network, grow your systems, grow your business, grow your brand. Continual growth. Focus on growth. If you're focused on growth, the direction you grow will always be the right direction. The direction is more important than the ultimate end. You're trying to get to an X point, $1 million, or working with a specific person, or being the top in an industry, or owning a certain amount of market share in a space. Those are specific, definite destinations. If you're going in a direction, if you're growing in the ability to achieve that goal, moving in that direction, even if you don't go specifically to that goal, but to something else that is a equal level of success, not as you set out for, but in the right direction, is growth, is building upon past successes, you are being successful. And that comes from taking advantage of the opportunities as they come to you, not because taking advantage of opportunities only in the way you want them to be. Take advantage of how opportunities come to you. Learn through this journey. Part of growth is learning. There will be multiple levels of success, multiple destination, multiple stages of measurements, multiple milestones that you'll look back upon and say, this happened, therefore I got to this. And once that happened, I could get to this. And this only happened because I had already done these things. Learn how each of those levels happened. Learn how you got to each milestone and how you can take that information, that knowledge, that experience, the things that you have grown to that point, and move it to the next level and the next level. Success is a continually moving goal. You don't become successful one time and quit. You become successful every day by following the process, by engaging in it and embracing these ideas of growth, moving in a direction, building upon, and learning through the process. You also learn by losing and winning. And you will lose, you will have more failures, you'll have more setbacks, you'll have more unexpected outcomes, you will have more no's than successes, than wins, than yeses. It's not you, it's everyone. It's how the system works. The people who are ultimately the most successful are the ones who utilize what can be learned in the failure, shortcomings, and unexpected outcomes. The no's will inform you how you can move forward to a yes next time by making the adjustment, by being flexible, by moving in the right direction, by growing from the setbacks, by growing from the process. You'll be better equipped for a yes next time when you got a no this time. More no's than yeses. It happens. You must learn from it. You may make adjustments, even if they're very small adjustments, in order to move forward for ultimate yes. Small no's mean nothing. The big yes is the key. It's the focus. It's learning through the journeys and the stages of expectation. More fails than wins, more no's than yeses. As long as you're being consistent. If you're having consistent effort, if you're consistently building in a direction, if you're consistently growing, if you're consistently flexible, if you're consistent in your approach and your effort level, in the way you give back to the people you do business with, to the people who buy your product or service, to the people that you buy product services from, etc. Everything in your process is strengthened, built better, and ultimately more beneficial to you in the pursuit of success if you are consistent. Consistent in message, consistent in delivery, consistent in meeting expectations, consistent in setting and reaching the small goals that take you to the bigger goals. Consistently showing up, doing what you say you're going to do, the way you say you're going to do it, meeting those expectations. That consistency will build trust from others. It will build the systems in order for you to move forward. It will build habits within yourself so that you're measuring your small successes, but moving towards a bigger success without thinking about it, because you're consistently doing the work and understanding that's how the process goes. Be consistent. Ultimately, you're trying to build a brand. Whether you have launched a business, whether it's you as a person, be more than a resume, be more than a single success, be more than a milestone. Be a brand or a self-brand. but be bigger. If you think of yourself as someone who has bullet points on a resume, you will think small. You will achieve small. You will not gain the ultimate level of success. If you think of yourself as a brand, if you build your business as a brand, not in sales today or sales this quarter and focus on numbers, but on how you represent yourself and your brand, who your audience is, how you deliver, the consistency and the repeatable sustainability of that process. If you build in those ways, if you build a brand as opposed to trying to make a sale today or make a dollar today, you will ultimately be growing and moving in the right direction. If you build brands, you will be successful. If you look to make money, if you look for transactions, if you look for small, easy wins, you'll stop there. Build brands, even when you're talking about yourself, but definitely when you're talking about a business. Do not build a business. Do not build a successful unit that makes transactions, makes profit, cashes checks. That is an aspect of the process. Build a brand where you can repeat this, where it can be sustainable, where you can depend upon it, where you can bank on it, where you can put your hopes and dreams and expectations of the future on that brand. You can't put that on sales today. You can't put that on your numbers in this quarter. You can put that on a sustainable brand that has been built to grow and move in the direction of ultimate success. So less about the specifics of ultimate success, more about building the vehicle that will take you there. Once you have the vehicle built, once you have a brand, once you understand the process, once you've learned, once you've grown, once you've put all these things together, you have the freedom to decide what to do with it. Success is a long path. Your life is a long path. Even if we're talking about working on a project or something that is smaller within the aspects of your career, your brand, something that can be defined as successful. It's still a long process. It's not immediate, and it's not immediate gratification. Build the vehicle, build the brand, build a reputation, build sustainable success that can be the foundation for the next level of success and the next level of success. When you get to an ultimate level of success, the specifics of what it looks like, how much money, how many clients you have, who you work with, things you have access to, things that you can buy, things that you can do for others, all of those details will be minor in comparison to the vehicle, your brand that you've built. So embrace the process, be consistent, continue to learn, be flexible, adapt, change, take opportunity as it comes, etc. You ultimately have a sustainable brand that will provide you any definition of success you want, even though it's probably not the definition you had in your mind the day you took the first step. That's where we started. That's where we end. Thank you so much for paying attention to this episode of the Saturday Morning Hustle. Follow up from last week's conversation. Last week we talked about starting. This week we talked about the big picture. Make sure you listen each and every week to the Saturday Morning Hustle podcast, Anchor app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Podchaser, YouTube, anywhere you find great podcasts. Stream, subscribe, listen, leave a comment, leave a review, share with a friend. I'd appreciate that very much. Make sure you get your Saturday Morning Hustle, Entrepreneur EF, and Coffee and Donut swag. I got the white sweatshirt on today. It's one of my favorites. You can get it at SaturdayMorningHustle.com. Make sure you follow on all the social medias as well. Of course, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and the new Facebook page, the Facebook fan page dedicated to the Saturday Morning Hustle podcast. Don't forget, we have the special edition, special episodes of the Saturday Morning Hustle. The last Monday of every month, there will be a new episode of the Balance series this Monday. The current episode you might want to check out today is Mentoring, Providing and Receiving Mentorship. Check that out, and there'll be a new edition of the bonus podcast the last Monday of this month in a couple of days. That topic to be announced soon. All of this, of course, again, is at SaturdayMorningHustle.com. So it's Saturday. I'm in the office. This is the Saturday Morning Hustle. I appreciate you guys listening each and every week. See you next Saturday.